In this video, we're talking about scroll saw blades, and in particular, when to change your scroll saw blades. Now, this may seem obvious, and the first occasion for changing your scroll saw blade is when one snaps. But there are other times when we need to change a scroll saw blade. You also need to change it when it becomes blunt and it isn't cutting as effectively. But as a beginner, there is another occasion when you need to change your scroll saw blade so it continues doing the job effectively. This is when you notice that the blade has become discoloured. When it becomes discoloured, the problem is that it will burn the wood more easily. And the reason this is a problem, it will affect you in terms of your finishing. So when you notice that mark on the blade, there'll be a little section that's discoloured. When that starts to become more obvious, you need to change your blade in order to not spoil the finish that you get from cutting with your scroll saw. Let's just give you a quick demonstration of what happens if you use your scroll saw with a blade that has discoloured. So as you can see, it's more difficult in terms of cutting, and as it's going along, it's burning the wood. This can be more pronounced in certain woods. For example, when cutting cherry, this can be a lot worse. But when cutting all woods, if you have a blade that is discoloured, it will not perform as effectively as a new, clean blade. The specific blade that we use is the Nikwa No. 9 reverse tooth blade. The reason we choose to use this blade is it gives you a nice fine finish on your work. The wood that we're mainly cutting is between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch thick, so around about 1.2 centimetres to 2.5 centimetres. It will also then depend on the work that you're doing and the wood that you are cutting. So for example, we find that if we're cutting a timber like mahogany and it's a thinner piece, for example 1.2 centimetres thick, the burning of the wood is not as great an issue. However, if we're cutting, say, a thicker piece of wood, say 2.5 centimetres thick, and it's a wood like cherry, the burning will be a much greater problem. But as a beginner, it can be quite off-putting if a blade is burning your work and you don't know the reason why. So hopefully with this, it'll give you a little bit of a better insight into scroll saw blades, and you'll check your blades now for any discolouring, and that will then avoid the problem of burning your work as you are cutting it. So for any of you beginners who might be having that problem where you are burning the wood when cutting out your projects, maybe that discolouring of the blade is something that you can have a closer look at. We're always trying to help you out in what you're doing, so the main tips that we always emphasise for you is to make sure you've got a good sharp blade. This will help you out. Don't feed the project through the saw too quickly. Let the saw do the work. This is the same with whatever saw you're working with. A hand saw, a scroll saw, a band saw, a coping saw, or whatever saw it is. Let the blade, let the saw do the work for you. Hopefully that's useful. Hopefully it gives you a little insight into when is the time to change your blades. Thank you again for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you know when we upload another video. And we'll be back again soon with more videos.